Hello, welcome. Marlene here. Today's cookie tutorial is a collaboration with Daniela's and Sweet Ams. We hired someone on Fiverr to draw a snowman for us. The artist submitted 3 designs, and so we picked the guy there on the left. And so I'm going to be decorating him in my version, and you can go check out Daniela's channel and Sweet Ams to see theirs. Just interesting how all our brains work. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get decorating. Here are my cookies. You can see the edge is really nice. That's because I cut the dough while it was chilled. And now I'm adding my guidelines. I like to make stencils for my guidelines. Then I can quickly pipe my design on there. Normally I would suggest a light colored guideline, but for the video I do a little bit darker for you guys to be able to see well. And now I can do a light misting to get those lines onto the cookie. I'm not worried too much about the face detail and such because that will be hidden once I actually do the snowman. So right now it's more about the actual snowman, and then I'm going to come back in after and add those details. But right now, and this is more about the perimeter than the details right now. Starting off with a black outline on my snowman. I want to create kind of a cartoon look. I'm not getting into too much of the detail yet, since they'll be on top of this base icing. And now I'm going to add some shading to my snowman. So just like a crescent of light teal right here along the face. And then a dot of pink on each cheek, and then the rest all in white. And you want to do this all before it crusts over so that everything kind of levels together. You want it all to look like it's all one smooth surface there. I'm just going to add a bit of pink in there so that it expands. All right, and a shake. Okay. You see, it gives it a very cartoony look. And now I'm grabbing that same light teal and I'm adding bits of shading. And the rest in white. My base layer has had time to dry enough for me to be able to add my secondary guidelines. I'm reusing the same template and I'm adding the arms that will be resting, the scarf, the second scarf part, and then those arms. So you see now I know where to pipe my next layer of icing. Here is the face stencil. I made it out of clear plastic and I can see right through it to align the cheeks onto the edge of that smile. And then I can come in and stencil that in black icing. I'm just adding a touch of black icing to my spatula that I'm going to use to add that detail. You want to work sideways usually. That's what's... Let me see, does it fit better this way? Yeah, it fits a bit better this way. So I'm just putting my fingers right here. And I'm adding the icing and pulling it across. Like that, and then I have my smile. I find that if you pipe it on, it gets too kind of like raised up and looks weird. And so that's why I'm opting for the stencil, so that it lays very flat onto the surface of the icing. I scraped off a little bit so that I could see for my placement, and again, pulling it across. And trying to just get it to be smooth. And there we have our little smile. You see, you get a perfect face. Moving along with the next few steps here. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm starting off with the scarf. Now, if you see over here, there's a lot of texture going on. That's achieved with a thicker icing so that the icing doesn't heal into itself. But when working with a thick icing, it's much harder to squeeze it out of the piping tip. Full disclosure, I'm making only 3 cookies, so less of a consideration. But if you're planning on making hundreds of snowmen, I do not recommend using this technique, since it does require a lot of pressure on the icing to squeeze it out. So I'm starting off here with the little tassels coming down from the edge of the scarf, and now I'm working horizontally across the design, and all I'm doing is a circular motion, creating here, I'm starting about here and filling in this bottom section, and it's just a big circular motion. And if you examine it very closely, you can see the piping tip lines remain because my icing is thicker. Now I'm doing a second row about halfway up, and then it lays on that first row, and it's giving the scarf a much more textured effect. Now I'm setting it down and I'm grabbing my dark teal color, and about at the same area, again, the circular motion, resting on that red line, and grabbing the next, and then to the next row. Now I feel this in my hand. My hand is really working quite a bit trying to get this icing to come out so that I get a steady, consistent line, but your hand is squeezing very hard to get this to come out of this little hairline hole in the piping tip. I'm doing 2 rows of each color. I think my teal might be harder than the red, but and my last, I'm going to fit in a little bit of red there. Okay, and now I'm grabbing the black and I'm going to add all those sections, those secondary sections that need to be filled. Here, my guideline is not right, so I'm redoing it myself. A little bit of the arm is resting. Now I'm seeing right here, this guideline, I'm going to get some alcohol and just brush it away. Since this is in marker and it's blue, I'll be able to kind of like paint it away. Don't worry about that too much. And now my second layer of scarf. I'm going to start here. So that's the layer of scarf that's kind of resting on top of this one. So I'm just adding that line like this. This one here. And then I'm going to add these lines for that arm. And next is those feet. The little feet are resting on top of the snowball. So fill this in. And this one. Now that I've got all those guidelines on, I'm going to come in and add that second scarf area. And now I'm going to start working on that second layer of scarf, the one that's kind of on top of the first. I'm doing exactly the same thing. A circular motion across. And now the stripes went across horizontally, but now we need them vertically because the scarf is turned around the neck. I'm going to go this way so that the line starts at the head. So I'm just going to add that now, this area across. So it goes about here, and the knot goes a bit over here, and there's the knot area. So this is kind of where the scarf is tied up around his neck. So this area has to also be filled. And now I'm grabbing my white and teal. We're doing the same thing that we did previously, the shading on our sections. And there, the arms are filled. I'm going to set this aside to dry a bit before moving on. We're going to add the hat. Work on the hat and maybe finish off that knot. Let's just look at things here. So the knot, here you can see I angled the icing in the knot so that it wouldn't just blend into everything. And that direction helps to separate it from the other areas around it. The pom-pom is just bigger circles like we did on everything else. And this is dots here. I wasn't sure what to do with this area, so I opted for little dots. So we're gonna finish that. And then I need to get some icing to make the nose, but we're getting there, okay? So let's move this guy into position. First thing I'm going to do is the pom-pom. And I've got my stiff icing. And I'm just doing this circular motion all around here. All right, there. And now I'm doing more like tear shapes so that it connects to the hat. You see, and there's the little pom-pom. I'm going to now grab my teal icing to add the hat itself. And what I'm doing for the hat is I'm doing little dots that I'm pulling in. So a dot and pull in. And I'm doing 2 rows of that. And again, it's just about using the textured icing. You could just flood this, but I'm opting for texture. And now I'm adding my red row of dots. Last, I'm doing 2 rows just like I did 2 rows with everything else. I don't think I need to go all the way across. Okay, now let's rotate. Going to start with the red, I guess. And I'm working on either side of the hat here. Let's do a second. And this side. And now I'm going to work on that knot. And I want to have, like I say, the angle. My hand is dying after these 3 cookies and these stiff lines. There. And now the center of my hat here. And I'm just going to fill the middle here in the red again. Well, that's pretty much done. I just need the nose. Here is the nose I'm working on. I've got my orange icing and I just want to show you the options. Here you can either do like a circular motion, kind of what we did on the hats, you see? And then you stop and you pull and you get like a tip. The other option is you're just basically dot, pull away, dot, pull away. So you're staying still. It's achieving pretty much the same thing. I find that this way it's easier to create like kind of a tapering. You're just making smaller and smaller circles. Very zoomed into the face here so that you can see. So I'm starting about here. I'm going to take it up over to the face here. So I'm doing a circular motion. And there is the little carrot nose. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to go check out Daniela and Sweet Am's channel to watch their versions of the snowman. And I actually made the other two. I thought they were so cute, I couldn't resist. You'll find those in my Cookie School group if you want to check that out. The link is in the description box. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next cookie tutorial.